Okay, good evening, friends. So I would like for you to go ahead and make sure that you have copied down your date, your title, and your learning goal. The title is Interpreting Remainders, and tonight's learning goal is after solving a division equation, I can decide what my remainder means and what to do with it. Pause your video here so that you can take a moment to get that copied down. Alright, so we're going to be looking at 4 different strategies for interpreting remainders. The first strategy that we look at is called ignoring the remainder. When you ignore the remainder, the problem does not make use of the remainder, so it can be ignored. Here is an example where you might ignore the remainder. Brandon's mom is serving punch at the picnic. She has a punch bowl that holds 34 ounces of punch. How many 3-ounce servings can be poured from the punch bowl when it is full? How did the remainder impact the answer to this situation? Well, you see here that she has a punch bowl that holds 34 ounces, and she wants to pour 3-ounce servings. Our question is asking us, how many servings can she pour? How many servings can be poured? We don't want to know how much is left over after she poured her servings. We want to know exactly how many 3-ounce servings she can pour. So in this case, we don't really care what our remainder is because all of our servings have to be exactly 3 ounces. You do not need to copy this example down, but do pause your video so that you can copy the notes that I have copied in my math notebook. Press play when you're ready to begin again. Okay, in our next strategy, you are going to add 1 to the whole number quotient. In order to take care of all parts of the problem, 1 must be added to the whole number quotient. Here is an example where you might have to add 1 to your whole number quotient. Brandon is helping his mother plan a picnic for a family reunion. They are expecting 27 family members to attend, and they are using round tables that seat 5 guests each. How many tables will be needed to seat 27 people? How did the remainder impact this situation? In this situation, we have 27 guests, and we are going to put 5 guests at each of our tables. If I put 5 guests at each of my tables, I can take care of 25 of my guests by having 5 tables, but that leaves me with 2 guests left over. Well, those 2 guests can't sit on the floor. Those 2 guests can't sit at another table because there's not room for them. So I have to add another table to my quotient to give me a total of 6 tables so that I have enough seats for everyone. So in this situation, I would have to order 6 tables instead of 5 so that all of my people have a place to sit. Again, you do not have to copy down this example, but pause your video so that you can copy down your notes. Press play when you're ready to begin again. Okay, our third strategy is that the remainder is the answer. The question asks what is left after something has been divided equally. So the remainder is the answer when your word problem is asking you how much was left over. Here is an example where the remainder is the answer. Brandon and his sister Daisy are preparing flower bouquets as centerpieces for each table at the picnic. They hope to have enough to decorate the table that has all the food as well. They have 43 roses and they would like to put 6 roses in each bouquet. After they have made as many bouquets as they can, how many roses will be left to decorate the food table? When you are asking how much is left after you've done your dividing, they are asking what the remainder is. When you are asked how many are left, they are asking you what the remainder is. You do not have to copy this example down, but pause your video so that you can copy your notes down. Press play when you're ready to begin. Okay, so our last strategy is called share the remainder. Share the remainder so it becomes part of the quotient. This may result in a fraction or a decimal. I'm getting ready to show you an example where you have to share the remainder. Remember that you are not copying the example down, but that you will need to pause your video after I'm finished to copy down the notes. The example is, Daisy is making tablecloths for all of the picnic tables. She has 18 yards of fabric to make 8 tablecloths. So she's making tablecloths for 8 tables. How much fabric will she use for each tablecloth? Okay, well, I have already set my equation up down here. I have 18 total yards that I'm splitting up between 8 pieces. If I give each of my 8 tables 2 yards, I have used 16 of my 18 yards. So I can go ahead and take away that 16 because it has already been distributed to my 8 groups. When I take the 16 yards that I have already distributed away, I'm left with 2 yards. Well, 2 yards is not enough fabric to give each of my 8 groups another yard. But I can take and divide that 2 yards up into 8 equal pieces. But it's going to be less than 1 whole yard, so we are going to have a fraction. What that's going to look like is here's a yard, and here's a yard. I have 2 yards left. And I need to split those 2 yards into 8 equal pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. So there's 8 pieces. And there's 8 pieces. I have split each of my 2 yards into 8 equal pieces. I'm going to give each of my 8 groups 2 of those 8 pieces. Therefore, each group or each table is going to get 2/8 of a yard. Remember to pause your video and to copy down your notes. Press play when you're ready to begin again. Okay, so remember that there are 4 strategies for interpreting remainders and deciding what you're going to do with your remainders. What you decide to do with your remainder depends on the type of word problem that you're answering. You have to pay attention to those clue words in your word problems to help you decide, are you going to ignore your remainder? Are you going to add 1 to the whole number quotient? Are you going to use the remainder as your answer, or are you going to share your remainder? We're going to be practicing some interpreting remainder problems in class tomorrow. So please make sure that you have copied all of these notes down so that you can refer back to them to decide which strategy you're going to use. If you have any questions, you may write them on the bottom of your page and we will chat about them tomorrow. Have a great night.